I wish you guys would have been here for the last like 40 minutes because you would have had a ball. I was over here setting things up as, I would say, contrary to popular belief. I don't just walk in here and hit record and say, let's go. There's always something that I'm doing or thinking of, or, you know, like today. What do we have today? We have new screens. What are all these new screens? What do they all mean? What? You don't know? I don't know either. You know what? But you will know by the end of the day. Things I was working on. So anyway, I feel like I won't feel right to get the show started if I don't have, one, the intro. There we go. That bad boy. 2, this bad boy. On the road to the riches, 'cause it's all paper. You know, you can't get started without that, dude. Maybe even a all right. Think I got everything in order. Let's get started. And baseline Trey. Road to the riches, 'cause it's all about the paper. Now buckle up your seats and prepare for the journey. Let the music ease your soul. Grab a spliff and start burning. Relax with us and take a trip to the heavens. And come and spend a day in the 757. Hydro, the vapes and blunts I smoke. That's exactly what I need when I'm blowing on. What up, everybody? Welcome to the after show, but later. I'm your boy D, and I am here for another episode of the fastest growing podcast by a 37-year-old male in Yuma, Arizona that is fat. Now, I know you probably don't believe me, but it is the fastest growing podcast by a 37-year-old male in Yuma, Arizona that is fat. Where do I get an applause for that? Where there? I appreciate it. You know, let's not go overboard. But I think it does, warrant some claps. Okay, I'll let you guys go for a second. Very, very, very morning zoo, right? Hey, everybody, let's go ahead and play a game today. We're going to actually have you guys... Oh. Apparently, the audience is bored. But anyway, the fuck? That goes on for a minute. Come on now. All right. Anyway, I got a little bit of ADD today. A little bit of, I was watching a podcast, called The Legion of Skanks, which you guys are probably familiar with. Big J. Okerson, Dan Soder, Louis J. Gomez. They were playing one of the craziest games I've ever heard on a podcast ever. These fools have no concern for political correctness. And God bless them. They're doing their thing, but holy crap, some of the things they do on Legion of Skanks is nuts. But anyway, I haven't checked out this week's Overpromise. So, I decided today would be a good day to actually check it out with you guys, right? Let's go ahead and watch this bad boy, Overpromise, and we'll talk some Covino and Rich, what happened this week. We might play, I say we, I mean you and I, you the listener. We might play some clips from Covino and Rich from this week. They only had 3 days this week, but it's okay. 3 days, about 2.5 hours a day. That's more than you're getting from most podcasts. So love it. So we might play a little bit of their stuff, but I don't want to play too much. If you need that, you're going to actually have to register for their Patreon and subscribe. It's like $5 or $10 a month. Come on now. And you know what? I'm going to have to update my card because I had some $104 charge on my card for like fraud or some shit. It was like from Apple. So I clicked, it was like, did you make this charge? And I hit no. And it was like, we locked your card. A representative is going to contact you. I was like, what? Now I have no card. So anyway, in the process of getting that new thing taken care of. And so I need to update my card before Patreon hits, and Covino and Rich are going to decline my membership. They're going to think I left. They're going to wonder what's happened. They're going to wonder if I'm still coming to the DBC. There's going to be so many things, so many questions. My phone's going to be blowing up. Spots are going to be hitting me up. Daniel, what do we do? Come back. Covino's going to hit me up. Daniel, what do we do? Come back. Rich is not going to hit me up. You know. But anyway, let's check out Overpromise from this week. I'm glad they got rid of the gay porn music.
Yeah, suckers. Yeah, do it. Do it live. Yeah, buddies. What's up? Covino and Rich. Welcome to episode 94 of Overpromised, our bonus podcast.
94. Great year. Less than the 49ers won the Super Bowl.
That's when I graduated high school. Out the door in 94 is when I became a man. Absolutely.
Don't tell people that. I tell them you graduated in 04.
I mean, in 2004. Damn, what was I thinking? Hey, speaking of, when I was 17, when you were 17, it's a much different world right now.
I have a question that I want you to leave in the comments.
Of Gen Z and why they're so weird. We'll explain. We have
Keto 5-0. Hey, Eric, nice to see you. I'm so glad that you stopped in. I've been seeing a lot of your stuff. I saw that dad fail a few minutes ago where you did that handstand and fell over. Your kids were making fun of you. You said something about 10,000 views. I think it's going to get more than that. So I appreciate you, Eric. I actually brought you up to my family last night. I was watching the movie The Alto Nights, and Robert De Niro is in it. And obviously it's a mobster movie, right? And I was like, I know this guy. And I brought up the whole Blanca or Griselda Blanco thing. And the fact that they had some kid portray you on a Netflix show, and I was excited to tell people. So I actually just brought you up last night, Keto. So I appreciate you checking it out, man. So I'm gonna check out this week's Overpromise. Haven't watched it this week, so let's see what's going on.
Lots to get to.
Fucking weirdos.
Plus, we're gonna talk about athletes on boats and what's going on.
Boats and hoes.
And I know there's a little bit of a delay.
A tragic story, but before we get into that,
there's a little bit of a delay right now on the video that you're watching right here and the audio. So I haven't figured out how to, I restarted everything. I downloaded everything. I deleted everything, and all that good stuff. And still there's a latency. So if you guys are familiar with Streamlabs or OBS or whatever, let me know what I'm probably doing wrong.
I want to remind everybody we're having a big party, okay? Big party, and you're invited. This is your invite. June 20th, 21st, and 22nd at Circa in Vegas. A Fox Sports Radio live broadcast, giveaway, prizes, lots of debauchery.
I'm trimming down now because I want to be looking sweet at the pool. I don't need anyone saying, "Oh, look at Rich Davis with the dad bod." So I'm...
Yeah. Now all the fat guys are real concerned about it. You know what?
We need fat guys too there.
Come and have a great time.
I'll be there. Don't worry, guys.
We're having a pool party. We're having a rooftop party. We're having lots of partying going on.
That's how Rich is going to look thin. He's bringing about a bunch of fat guys.
That's your trick. It's the trick, right?
So
earlier in the week, Rich said that he wanted to do some dance with me at the DBC or the Carl, whatever. What the hell? Their get together. And now I know why. Thanks a lot, Rich Davis. What's up, Andrew? I had a good few minutes of me just BSing and before I actually got the show started. So I'm just checking out this week's Overpromised, Andrew. We in Alabama till our trip in July. To our New York trip in July. Well, that's dope. Keto, you know what? You remind me of the dude. There's the dude that is sailing around the world or whatever. Cashed out his 401k. You know, he's, this is when I'm getting really intense. Look into my eyes. I just created that today. Look at it. So there's a dude that cashed out his 401k and he's traveling around the world and he's, going viral. I'm like, Keto did this years ago. Been traveling around, retired at like 25. Been living the life. He's in Alabama. He's going to be in New York for the Cops and Campers, trip. And nobody freaking, you don't see him on Dateline. Actually, I lied. You did see him that one time when he met his brother. Whole nother story. If you need to know that, go and check it out. check out Florida officer finds brother or something like that. Anyway, back to the show.
If you're extra overweight, yeah, definitely come to our party in Vegas.
You
I
never
will.
met a hot girl that surrounds herself with less attractive girls as a tactic?
Oh, yeah, it happens all the time. But there's going to be lots of hot women there, and you're invited.
I need to get together
excited
with
to
a
meet
bunch of
everyone in the Fox Sports
fatter
Radio
dudes that
world,
are
a lot of
bald.
our old school Covino and Rich listeners from the Sirius XM days. But honestly, from gambling, drinking, do some edibles, we'll have some fun, man. Vegas is going to be a blast.
What in the hell? But if you're going to come, again, we're having a big party. You don't have to come to all the events, but definitely stop by in Vegas. Details at Covino and Rich on social media. Be sure to RSVP, okay? So I'm Steve Covino.
I don't know if you guys are looking at the chat, but where am I? Right, there we go. Keto50 says, that's me, that dude that's traveling the world, but I'm broke. Police pension is very small. Post-COVID, hey, I worked in higher ed for about 10 years, so you don't have to tell me about a small pension or, you know, or trying to scrape by on pennies. I've been there. I just got into a different field, but still in education, just not in education. So believe me, Doug, I'm right there. I feel your pain, brother.
That is Coach Dickie Davis.
I'm coaching, bro. All stars.
There he is, Rich
All-stars.
Davis, and we're normally on 5 to 7 on the East on Fox Sports Radio, 2 to 4 on, there it is, on the West Side. Thank you guys for checking us out. Follow our regular podcast, of course. But let's get into it because there's some crazy stories about boats this week. And the question is, has anything good ever happened to an athlete on a boat?
I have a math equation. If you want to break out your TI-82, here we go. NFL
You don't call lovin' from ladies?
plus
Something
boats equals shit. No bueno. There's never anything that good that happens.
So at the beginning of Overpromise, Rich is telling Covino not to say he graduated in 94 because he don't want to look dated, right? And now he said, break out your TI-82. When did they use a TI-82? I graduated high school like 20 years ago and I've never heard of a TI-82. They're at like a TI-84 right now. So Rich, if you want to update your reference, TI-84, I think that's what the kids are using. But so, I mean, I'm a little dated as well. I'm not calling you out that much. But if you want to call somebody else out, then you turn around and your reference is just as old as theirs. And then, I mean, come on now.
When you combine NFL players and boats, Exhibit A, Stephon Diggs. I don't know if it's pronounced Tussie or Tussie, but that is the pink powdery.
What is the likelihood? How old is Stephon Diggs? Let's Google this bad boy real quick. How do you spell Stephon? Come on, internet. Why aren't you working, homie? It wants to take a poop on me. For me to poop on? Stephon Diggs. Okay, well, anyway. I don't need to Google it for this, but
Substance.
what is the likelihood that Stephon Diggs was actually named after Stephon Urkel? You know what I'm saying? Because if his name's Stephon Diggs, say he's 23 to 25 years old, that means his parents are what, in their 40s? I'm not in my 40s yet, but if Stephon Urkel was in my demo, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Stephon Diggs was actually named after Stephon Urkel. I actually want that answer. Does he do Cameo? I want a Cameo. I want him to tell me the answer to that. Maybe he doesn't even know.
We're allegedly seeing when he's on the boat with Cardi
Tussie
B.
for the ladies. For the ladies, yes.
Apparently, it's a mix of cocaine, Molly, ketamine, and caffeine, and apparently it's a popular street drug now.
Sounds healthy.
If I were Stephon Diggs, I'd be like, I don't know, it's Crystal Light.
Andrew says he was probably named after Stephon Marbury.
These are pixie sticks.
Nah.
What are you talking about?
Yo,
Stephon
They were having a
Urkel.
fun time with some
Because check
fun
this out.
dip.
I would absolutely.
The hell? What happened there? All right. I'm saying Stephon Urkel because, I mean, I'm thinking a little out of your demo, Andrew, as well. So, I don't know. Maybe you have a kid that's like 25 or something, but Stephon Urkel. I know Stephon Marbury. Cool dude. But Stephon Urkel, when Steve transformed into Stephon Urkel, there was nobody cooler. So I'm thinking in the subconscious mind of his mom She's like, I got this little baby. He is cool as hell. One day he's going to be playing professional sports. I'm naming this bad boy Stefan. And she didn't even know why. Maybe she even thought it was Marbury. I don't know. Let's check it out. Why the hell does this keep going into full screen?
I'm
No
an
full
athlete,
screen.
man. That's fierce pink strawberry Gatorade.
If he's trying to get a reputation
Emergency.
on a new team, and the Patriots are trying to get back to their glory days, do you think Stefan Diggs
What up,
hanging
lady?
with girls on a boat and being
Another
like, yo,
lady,
let me
another
bring this
lady?
little box of
Ooh.
pink substance. Like,
Her boobs are moving each other. You see that?
If I'm a superstar athlete or a celebrity or just a regular guy, I'm telling everyone,
As we live in a
Oh,
our collaboration
we.
is digital. For us, high-speed internet allows
put away the phones
connected.
if you're up to no good.
That's number one. Number two,
Oh, what's that?
whatever
What
you
got
choose
there?
to do. What
Oh.
the hell is that?
What is that?
What is that?
Oh, no, it's
Got some booger sugar or what?
Rub for some beef.
It's Lowry's.
It's pink Himalayan sea salt.
That's what it is. Thank you, Spot.
What's
that thick bitch
That's
doing there?
exactly what it is. They're grilling
That's what I
up.
want to know.
That's what it is.
Man, it's what you do recreationally on your own time. That's your own business. But he represents a bigger organization.
Maybe she
And
brought the booger
downside
sugar,
is
huh?
now the Patriots have to answer questions. Vrabel has to answer questions. He said,
You think that's what he wants to do the minute he gets his job? Like,
he's acknowledged. He has to acknowledge that. Yeah, obviously, I know I'm aware of something that we're aware of, and obviously we have to make great decisions on and off the field, but not the look you want when you're about to start the season. You don't want your coach getting involved. What's he supposed to say about this?
I mean, he's probably thinking like, yo, Stefan, I know you want to get these girls on a boat.
You want me to do, I can show you how to do an impression of Rich Davis doing an impression of anybody. So in the comments, give me a couple of people and I could do a dead on impression. Preferably athletes or hip hop artists. All right. Let me know in the comments right there in the live chat of some people, preferably athletes or freaking or hip hop artists, and I will do a dead on impression of Rich doing an impression of them. Mike Tyson. All right, so here's Mike Tyson. This is Rich. I'm telling you, this is Rich doing anybody. Hey, what's up? Mike Tyson here. Cool black athlete, heavyweight champion. And then insert subject. He always just says cool black dude, or if it's even like Ben Affleck or freaking Tom Hanks, right? Rich. Hey, Tom Hanks here. Castaway, Forrest Gump. Rich anytime, and that's if it's a black dude, he'll throw on a little accent like a like he tries to throw out like a more hip hop version of Rich Davis, but every time all he says is, "Hey, it's insert name, what they do, and then whatever the subject is." So it'll be Rich Davis doing an impression of Caitlin Clark talking about trans rights. This is it. Hey, what's up? Caitlin Clark here, WNBA professional. I think trans people... Rich, that's not an impression. That just because you say their name and what they do... All right, Rich, do Triple H. Rich, do an impression of Triple H. Do an impression of Triple H talking about Bobby Kennedy, right? All right, Rich Davis, doing Triple H, talking about Bobby Kennedy. Hey, what's up? Triple H here, WWE superstar, formerly WWF. Bobby Kennedy. Then he goes into his spiel every time. And I know you think I'm full of it. Look into my eyes and tell me what it is you see. Right? I'm telling you, look into my eyes. Anytime, just because I said that, I put the little nugget in your brain. Now, every time you see Rich Davis do an impression, I guarantee you that's what he does. Sorry, I'm going on and on.
And I know you probably just want to get your pee-pee touched. You're Stefan Diggs, you're a superstar. But do you need to have video of potential drugs? What are we doing? We're trying to get back in the AFC East. We're not. What do we? Come on.
And then it's out there. What's more intrusive, this footage or the footage?
I was
of
talking
Bill
shit
Belichick
about
at the Airbnb.
I said,
on the
what's
ring
that
camera?
thick chick doing that, right? Jokingly, kind of. But she has great skin. I will give her that.
Is he listening to me on Pop 2K with Ja Rule on in the background? Imagine all of a sudden you hear me like, "Hey, Rich Davis."
Come on. I feel like, this is stuff we shouldn't be seeing right now.
Yeah.
That's odd.
Well,
so
listen.
again, that adds to the theory of, has anything good ever happened to an athlete on a boat? This is the latest story.
Can I take you back to the
I think Rich said it best.
Boat? Not
When
your favorite
Phoebe
show that
touched.
you would watch with your tita.
It's funny you bring that up, but continue.
Love
I'll
Boat.
explain.
Love Boat. Great show. Let's go back to 05. I can't believe this is 20 years ago. Do you remember the Minnesota Vikings did like a boat cruise? And apparently it was 7 players.
So I watched the Brett Favre documentary, and I must have been so wrapped up in, let me see, that was around the time I turned 21-ish, 22, my early 20s. Maybe I was just too wrapped up in myself. But I remember, obviously, Favre was my favorite player when I was a kid. I remember him going, retiring and then going, wherever, the Jets, the Vikings, whatever. And I vaguely remember the Crocs and the shot that he sent, the picture to Jen Sturger. But vaguely. And then all the other stuff with him stealing money from poor people and all that crap. I must have just been so far with my head, so far up my own ass that I learned so much in that documentary. And I wanted to come at it like, yeah, I already knew all this. And I did know the story, but only because of Covino and Rich. So I knew their version of the story. But to hear it on the documentary and everything, and how it was national headlines. They were talking about it on the Today Show. Freaking Stephen A. Smith was talking about it. Everybody, and I was like, how far up my own ass was my head where I missed a lot of this? Anyway, they said Vikings reminded me of that.
They called it like a sex party because whoever had to clean up found KY jelly, condoms. People were disruptive.
Was it a freak off? A Vikings freak off?
It was sort of minus the
Was
illegal
Lizzo
stuff.
there? Is that why she's singing about the Vikings?
Sounds like a weekend
Minnesota
at
Vikings.
my place.
I mean, the Vikings Love Boat was a story that, unfortunately did them no justice.
That was 2005
Yeah.
Vikings at Lake Minnetonka.
We'll buy your property cash.
thing it wasn't
as is, in
Lake
any condition.
Tatanka.
We can close on your timeline.
Hey, what the
Anything you
hell?
don't want, you leave it behind, whether you're facing foreclosure.
Yeah.
Minnetonka, Minnetonka, Titicaca, Lake Titicaca.
Lake
So before I
Tatanka.
move on to the next one, any Love Boat thoughts?
No, but yeah, it sounded like a freaky deaky time with these Viking players. So yeah, a weird story in 2005 that no one needed to hear about.
The trend. Nothing goes good with NFL players and boats.
It sounded kind of good for the Vikings, maybe.
Fast forward to 2016.
Oh, this is the worst one. Because again, it's a dirty word in sports apparently, but optically, this was terrible.
Yeah.
If you're ever wondering about when they film Overpromised, you can see Rich's phone says 12:01.
Bad optics all around.
Remember that?
You know who I felt worse for? Victor Cruz, more than I did.
Do you guys remember in the beginning episodes of Overpromised, and I even asked Covino about it when he was actually on the after show. In the beginning episodes of the after or Overpromised, this is how they would start the show. They were leaving Fox Sports, so they would do this. Hey everybody, welcome to Overpromised, and they would do like they were just getting there. And I remember I asked Covino about it. I think he mentioned like Big Mike or somebody thought that it would look cool visually that they were getting there from Fox Sports or whatever. I don't remember though when that went away because that was such a noticeable thing when it was happening.
Odell Beckham Jr. Or Sterling Shepard was there. And a lot of people don't realize hip hop artist Trey Songz is in that photo as well. It was a boat party ahead of the wild card game against the Packers.
And yeah, this is all fine and fun. You could even say team building and camaraderie. But then, 2016 happened. And yeah, this is all fine and fun. You could even say team building and camaraderie. And yeah, this is all fine and fun. You could even say team building and camaraderie. But then, 2016 happened. And yeah, this is all fine and fun. You could even say team building and camaraderie. But then, 2016 happened. And yeah, this is all fine and fun. You could even say team building and camaraderie. But then, 2016 happened. And yeah, this is all fine and fun. You could even say team building and camaraderie. But then, 2016 happened. And yeah, this is all fine and fun. You could even say team building and camaraderie. But then, 2016 happened. And yeah, this is all fine and fun. You could even say team building and camaraderie. But then, 2016 happened. And yeah, this is all fine and fun. You could even say team building and camaraderie. But then, 2016 happened. And yeah, this is all fine and fun. You could even say team building and camaraderie. But then, if they win.
Yeah.
But they lose, so it goes back to this. Well, maybe if they weren't partying on the boat, that's why it's bad optically.
Yeah, everyone's
so you
got
got a
their-
big game coming up.
You know what? It's true because it may or may not have contributed to them losing. But like I was listening to Bono on Joe Rogan, and Rogan was talking about when there's an athlete, a fighter, and they say they're thinking about quitting. He's like, they just need to quit. Because if you're already thinking and you have one, finger out the door, there's somebody who has all 10 fingers in the door, and that's all they're thinking about. That's all. So these dudes that are partying on the boat, I feel like it did contribute to losing, because the dudes that, were winning, maybe not out on boats.
Everyone's got, suns out, guns out, showing their abs, looking all slick, but then they get stomped
Yeah.
38-13
If they win, it's not a story.
days later. So, again, Giants, boats, no bueno. Can we move along to
Just wasn't a good look.
arguably the GOAT? Now, this is more of a funny story, but Tom Brady on a boat almost threw the Lombardi Trophy in Tampa Bay. Do you remember after they won the Super Bowl?
Everything about this is wild.
I had a dream
But
the
the
other
fact
day. I
that
was
this
in
was 2021
Daytona.
also baffles me. It was that long ago already. But imagine taking this chance. Touchdown Tommy gets wild when he drinks.
Yeah, he does.
Throws it
They're
to
throwing
Gronk.
passes around.
After Gronk caught it, he did his little.
It's a little shake. Little Gronk shake.
I
And
love
I'm sure
Gronk.
somebody dropped it. Then somebody dropped it and it got a big dent in it or
Yeah.
something. Or was that at the parade? I don't know. But either way, it's the Lombardi Trophy. You're throwing it from boat to boat?
Again,
What's that about?
boats.
That's wild, man. That's
And
how trash they were.
That is
And
hella
you can even
wild.
wrap it up by saying Bill Belichick. The controversy of him renaming his boat even made headlines. 1 + 8 rings. Like, no matter where you look, boats in the NFL, just not good.
What's he call his new boat?
Love Bill Belichick.
Didn't Shaq name his boat
Young and tight.
free throw? That way he'd never sink it.
It's a good one.
Something like that.
I like that.
And nothing good ever happens to athletes in boats. Or do that. You mentioned the Love Boat.
Yeah.
I was trying to think about it. I'm like, what about the Globetrotters at Gilligan's Island? They actually crashed a plane.
A lot of good
That's how
happened in
they
Tommy
ended up
Lee
on
in a boat.
Gilligan's
Remember
Island.
that
So-
one?
You could have said boat.
That's a throwback.
Maybe they got away on a boat.
You got to keep the facts.
Yeah, that was 1981. But get this, you brought up the Love Boat that the Vikings were sailing on in
Love
2005.
Boat. Yeah.
Good things did happen to Joe Namath in 1979 on the Love Boat. There was a lot of superstar athlete.
I didn't really get to live through the Globetrotters, and I don't know if that was just more of a East Coast thing, but I am so glad that I got to live through the and one era with the Professor, Hot Sauce, Shane the Dribbling Machine, Spida, and I actually got to meet a handful of those motherfuckers in like 2010. No, damn, that had to be before. It was like 2007, 2008. It was like 2008. I got to meet Spida, Shane, Hot Sauce, and a few other fools, but I don't remember. Those were the ones I was super stoked to meet. That's why I remember. them.
Cameos. Yeah, look at the action he was
You
getting.
know what she's saying? I want to kiss you.
Struggling. How about you kiss
And my cousin.
That's Fred
So-
Willard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Willard. Holy shit.
So, hold on. I mean,
So me and my cousin went to go. We got to see them perform or whatever, and got to meet them and all that. My cousin has a picture with fucking, I think with Spida, and he's like reaching over my cousin to like shake Spida's hand, and Spida's like this in the picture. Right, so it's just it was just he thought he was gonna pose. My cousin thought he was gonna shake his hand, and this was 2008, right? So I think we had a digital camera. We had to, right? But it wasn't like now with phones, right? Where you're looking at it. Was so the only picture we have that we actually even printed of my cousin with Spida, he's like this, about to shake his hand. And I'm like, oh, things today's kids will never have to go through. Come on now.
hey, we posed a question. Does anything good ever happen? Man, TV, maybe. Love Boat 79, Joe Namath. Dick Butkus in 1982. Jim Brown also appeared in
Dick butt
82.
kiss.
Reggie Jackson also appeared in 1982 on The Love Boat. And Caitlyn Jenner as Bruce in 1980 all appeared on The Love
Bruce.
Boat.
More like
Good
Bruce as
things
Caitlyn.
happened. There was a lot of drama, a lot of controversy, but I'm sure they got it all.
What's
Little
that? What's that
action.
reality boat show people love where they all just have sex and hook up?
Is that
under
Below Deck?
Below Deck, yeah. Man, I want to. You know what would be cool if that style came back? Go back to the Namath photo. Can you imagine
I
rocking
want
that
you
collar?
to kiss me.
I feel like that's a style Cavino would love. That
Why not?
That big 70s
Everything
collar.
comes back, man. Everything comes back.
Everything was bigger in the
Joe Namath
70s.
getting some
Bushes,
action. That
collars,
sounds good
everything,
to
right?
me. Imagine partying with Fred Willard. That sounds like fun.
He passed away, right?
Love Boat was
And
too old
guess
for
what,
me
guys?
as well.
No pink substance
Look up. Yeah, no, I don't know.
that we know of or that we see. So,
Yeah,
man,
he,
Stefan Diggs, you better
There's two things
dig
I know-
yourself out of this hole.
5 years ago.
Why does he keep
Rest in
fucking
peace,
doing
Fred,
this?
Fred Willard.
The two things I know about Love Boat. Love Boat, soon we'll be taking another one. Whatever, right? The theme song. And I think this is from Love Boat. Can I fix somebody a drink? Right? That was the black dude. That was the bartender. And the only reason I know that is because he came out on an episode of Boy Meets World.
Now we get to Gen Z. And it's a question of what's weirder about Gen Z. But let's
Is that the girl?
explain
Is that the girl you hooked up with in Hoboken back in the day?
on a boat. Yeah.
Gen Z.
It was a booze cruise. Shh. Now, what is Gen Z? Generation Z, the Xenials, the Weenials. Anyone born from 1997 to 2012, okay? 97 to 2012, ages 13 to 28. But we're focusing on the older demographic, right? Like probably 18 and over.
18 to 28.
18 to 28. But it's anyone 13 to 28. That's what Gen Z technically is. And it seems like in current day, everybody's obsessed about generations. I didn't even know what generation I was growing up. Did you? I still don't.
I'm Gen
But
X.
now everyone talks about
I thought I was Gen X growing up, only because when I was growing up, D-Generation X was huge. So I was like, oh, that's what we are. We're Gen X, right?
it so often.
I'm borderline millennial Gen X. That's sort of where I am.
Yeah,
Spot,
such a
you're the
weird
same,
thing.
but, you know, if you're born around
Zennial.
1980-ish, you know, that's,
People are obsessed with it, but we're also seeing
Rich
the
and
differences
millennial. Calm
right?
down,
so
Rich.
drastically in today's world. And
Rich never had a fucking...
Do you have a car?
I never did either, but I'm saying
Do you have a clean driving record?
studded belt with the freaking, you know, when Blink 182 was
Gen X,
huge.
we feel like you're in a
and, you know, all the kids wore the checkered Vans and freaking like Chris Chavez. You know, like shout out to Chris Chavez that I got to meet in Scottsdale. Dude had on the fucking black earrings that looked like thumbtacks, the checkered Vans, the fucking, you know, that look. When I met him, I was like, how old are you? And he was like 35. And at the time I was 36 and I was like, I knew it. I fucking knew it. He looked like everybody I went to high school with.
perfect pocket of you could relate to the boomers a little bit. You were raised by them. You speak their language. You understand. You're a little old school. Oh, but you also are fluent in young person because you try to stay up on things and you work with them and
Dude,
you're trying to stay relevant.
if
So
you are
you're right there in the middle,
if-
man.
If you're roughly 40,
yeah.
you speak old guy. You could understand
fluent in both.
You're fluent in old guy, but you also could speak Skibbity Ohio Riz if you needed to.
Exactly,
I get
right?
it. And you know, for me, I went to college without a smartphone, without a cell phone, without my own computer. I left college and I had a cell phone and a computer. So like,
But let that be your value in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Lean in. Into that because it makes you unique in today's workplace.
And
it makes you valuable.
I think a way to tie in this odd habits of Gen Z, as the NBA finals are starting to take shape, we got OKC and likely the Indiana Pacers. They're saying ratings are going to be at an all-time low, probably because they're small market teams, but also because kids don't watch the way they used to. They'll watch highlights. They'll watch some clips on TikTok
funny you say that.
and Twitter, and they'll be like, I watched the game. Did you watch a game or did you watch highlights? So not only are the markets not helping the NBA ratings, I just think kids don't.
Hey, thanks, Andrew. I muted my microphone so I could burp, and I forgot to hit it back live. So yeah, I was just saying that Rich is full of shit because he's not a millennial.
Watch games the way they used to.
Can I please tell you my first revelation of this?
Yes.
The first time I realized this happened. Again, Gen Z doesn't watch sports the way they used to. Again, what's weirdest about them? I'll start with this.
Yeah.
I remember, it's a whole long story, but there was a group of teenage kids that lived with me at one point. My ex used to manage a boy band. That's the truth.
Yeah, I think you always have to tell that part of the story.
I know. Otherwise, it sounds ridiculous.
When you start by saying,
It's so funny because at the time when Covino had the boy band living with him, you know, he says I had a group of, or he said, I had a group of teenagers living with me. I had a teenager living with me for like a month and a half that, yeah, it was fucking hilarious because this chick was a little black kid, right? So I'd show up and whenever I show up anywhere, like we at the fucking grocery store, I was like, I swear she's not fucking kidnapped. Like it was like, you know, but whatever. Yeah. So it fucking, you know, your life and your wives and, you know, put you into some scenario sometimes where you got to raise other people's kids for a minute, you know? So shout out to Covino. I appreciate it. And I agree, Andrew. I'm looking forward to new teams meeting in the finals. I am too. I'm excited. I am not excited for it to most likely be OKC and Indiana. I was hoping for Minnesota Knicks, but either way, I'm stoked because I mean, obviously the better teams are there, right? The better teams are making it. So it's going to be a lot of people. I think like Rich is saying, the ratings are going to be whack or whatever. I don't care about the ratings, right? Danny G said the other day, real fans are going to watch it regardless. And I'm stoked because the games have been so unpredictable that I think it's going to be a good series. And yeah, I'm excited too, Andrew. Long story short.
There was a time when a bunch of teenage boys lived with me. You have to follow it up with because my ex-wife managed a boy band. Okay.
I would be sitting there glued to the TV watching every inning of whatever game I'm watching, Yankees playing whoever, right? And I'd be glued to playoffs, baseball, whatever. And I'm sitting there wasting my time watching every inning, watching every play. And then every once in a while, one of these kids comes sliding into the living room in their socks, in their Crocs. And they're like, yo, man, did you see what? They wouldn't know what happened before I knew what happened because they were getting Twitter updates and social media updates before I was even getting it on real time. Or at least I thought on my DirecTV or whatever I had at the time, at my dish. So
that's what I love.
I realized that I would waste all my day and all my night watching games.
And you still do.
And I still do, watching sport.
I love, like, right now, we have like 20 minutes until the UFC starts. So I'm going to have to wrap this up. So I don't even think I'm going to get through the whole episode because I talked way too much through it. But, you know, especially if you see a knockout and they do a replay or something and you're like, oh shit, but you want to watch it again a couple of times, you know, you just pull up Twitter and boom, automatically they have it in 50 different angles. And yeah, it's dope.
Center highlights, like an old guy, when they would get all the condensed versions and highlights and videos and updates through social media. And that was good enough. And what I realized is they knew.
What if your next
yeah,
was
you
on TV? You already run social ads,
motherfucking
but what about running ads
bullshit.
on TV? Doesn't have to be some confusing.
Just as much.
If you subscribe to Covino and Rich's Patreon, you won't get ads like that.
About what was going on as I did. And they weren't even watching.
I operate like a Gen Zer.
Yeah.
If I'm busy, if I'm coaching my kids or I'm out and about with my wife or doing something, you know, running errands.
UFC, you know what? Andrew's asking, is the UFC your favorite sport? I would have to say probably. And it hurts me to say that because my family grew up a huge basketball fan or fan of the sport. So my family, like we always watched every sport. You know, my family watched football throughout the year. basketball. Okay, not every sport. Basketball for the most part, and football. And then baseball playoffs. We didn't watch hockey or anything else like that. Obviously boxing and stuff like that. UFC, for me especially, over the last like 5 years. No, I would say more than that. Damn, my daughter just turned 9. So, yeah, I would say the last, like, I would say 8 to 10 years, that's probably been, I don't want to say favorite sport because I feel like basketball is still my favorite sport, but I do invest a shit ton of time into the UFC, watching all the embedded stuff, watching freaking listening to podcasts on the UFC, listening. I mean, I even listened to a podcast in Spanish with Kelvin Gastelum, and it's in Spanish. Don't even understand a whole lot of it, but I'm like, I like the UFC. It could help me understand. It can help me with my Spanish, right? So, I think I'd have to say yeah. And Andrew says you're always talking about it. Yeah, I like, and I think my favorite part about it is that it's year round, and every Saturday for the most part, you know, aside from a few, you know, you're gonna have fights, right? Not always the greatest, but I mean, you don't always have a basketball team that's always doing fucking badass, right? So, when you're a Lakers fan, you do have to get your sports enjoyment somewhere. You're telling me, dog, like really 100%. You know, it's so up and down. We get a little boost with Luka, then fucking you're like, LeBron needs to go, motherfucker, right? Okay, blah, blah, blah. It's been up and down my whole life, right? With the Lakers. We have high highs and we have low lows, right? And with the UFC, it's kind of boom, boom, boom. You have a dope event, a shitty event, It's kind of up and down as well, but it's all year long. That's what I like about it. And I'm actually stoked about this fight night, even though it's not like a crazy good fight night, because the last like 3 or 4 weekends, I've had something going on. I think it was last weekend. Was I sick last weekend? I don't remember, but last weekend I had something going on. The weekend before, luckily my daughter had pictures and stuff for dance and stuff this morning, but that was like this morning. So this evening I'll be able to watch the UFC. But I think that year round thing, and me missing, I missed the last few weeks. Got to watch a little bit here and there, but yeah, I think long answer, longer Andrew. Yes, it's probably my favorite sport right now.
I'll watch a Mets game like a Gen Zer. I'll look at the box score on an app and be like, oh, you know, Pete Alonso hit a home run. I'll go to X,
watch the video,
Alonso, and within 30 seconds, that isolated home run is up there. So I'm like, why do I need to watch anything more than that?
So I'm wasting 2+ hours. Back then, it was an unmanageable 3.5 hour baseball game.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they were just doing whatever they were doing, and they knew everything that was still going on. The way they watch sports is way different. I do appreciate a condensed version of a game, though. I do like that. Yeah. But there's 2 stories.
I don't. I'll be honest. I don't like a condensed version of a game. Even when I can watch, like, you know, like YouTube TV and, you know, whatever, even YouTube, they'll have highlights of the game in like a 9 to 11 minute, you know, condensed version of the game, to where it's not super short where you're going to watch it in a minute and a half, but you're not going to spend 45 minutes to an hour watching it. It's usually about, you know, roughly about 11 minutes to 15. I don't like that. I like I'll do it sometimes, especially if I'm trying to catch up on something like a Lakers game or something that I missed or whatever. I'll do it, but I like to watch the entire game. I even if it's a snoozer, I like to see when that one bucket bounced off and then landed in the bucket. I like to see that in real time. Like, yeah, you got to see the highlight, but you didn't get to enjoy man, this shit was boring. And then, you know, so let me see. I was way into the UFC from 04 to like 11, but then I kind of fell off. See, I wasn't. When I did watch around that time was when Cain Velasquez won the bout, and, you know, when he became a name, because he's from right here in Yuma. And, you know, I know something say San Jose and fighting out of San Jose and stuff. But motherfucker went to high school here. He grew up here. He saw his family here. He still comes here when he's not, you know, behind bars or whatever. But that I would watch those, like when he fought Brock Lesnar and shit. I remember everybody getting together to watch those, but not like I'm into it now. Not even close. If I could watch a game live, I will just see the score. Oh, if I can't watch a game live, I'll just see the score online. You know what? Where I do that a lot is with my betting shit. I'm watching games pretty much 24 hours a day because I'm a degenerate. And especially now that I started getting into even like poker and things like that. Yeah, I got a little bit of a problem, you know, not selling blood just yet, but fuck, it's so dope. It's so dope. You know, they talk about like when you're getting high and shit, like the rush is going to get it, right? Or even like if you're a gambler, the casino going to it. Having it in the palm of your hand is still pretty dope. You know, I mean, maybe you're a real degenerate if you do that. Because, you know, I'm going to the casino and shit, I'm like, yeah, this is dope, right? And it is cool, right? But then a lot of people say it wears off like once you get your drug. I don't know, dog. My drug, gambling's pretty dope. So whatever. But you know what? I'm gonna wrap it up. I still got to take a shower and got to do some things. I actually I jumped on here when I was supposed to be doing the dishes and cleaning and shit, and I was like, man, all that, mother, you know. What? Oh yeah, I think I have a button. I was like, man, right? I was like, I'm not gonna do the dishes, you know. Those dishes could lick my right. So now I guess they're just gonna stay dirty because I'm gonna get dressed. I'm gonna take a shower. I'm gonna go watch some UFC. So I appreciate you, Andrew. I appreciate you, Keto. I appreciate you, everybody else that was joining online. Just kidding. I think that was only 2. Anyway, after show, but later, I would check you guys out. I hope you guys check me out later. See you guys in the next episode. Let's go, baby.
Cause it's all about the paper. Now buckle up your seats and prepare for the journey. Let the music ease your soul, grab a spliff and start burning. Relax with us and take a trip to the heavens and come and spend a day in the 757.